guys, John here, back with another video. This video, I'm switching it up now. We're about a month and a week away from bass opener, so I want to start gearing up towards bass. I'm done with steelhead for the spring. I want to talk about something that I've never talked about on this channel, and that's how I Neko Rig from shore. So pretty much a shore angler's perspective on how I do it. So I'm going to be showing you the gear I use, the rod, the reel, the lines, the baits, and pretty much the terminal tackle and how I do it. So I'll fish a Neko Rig pretty much in edges where it would go, say, from like 3 to like 7 or 10 feet. You know, ledges, tapering points, isolated cover, deeper water, anywhere from like 9 to 13 feet. I'll even fish it in pockets, like weed pockets. And it's very versatile in terms of the range of weights and depths that you can fish, but I do fish it in deeper water than, say, a wacky rig. And more often than not with the Neko Rig, I actually do get bigger bites than, say, with a drop shot. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe the bigger worm or bigger bait. I have no clue, but I do get bigger bites out of it. So first things first, I'm going to show you the rod and reel that I use. And for the Neko Rig, you could use anywhere from, say, a 6'8" all the way to like a 7.5 footer. It all depends what you want. I think as a shore angler, my happy medium is a 7-foot rod, right? 7 to 7'2". Anything bigger than that's going to be a little cumbersome, especially with trees around me and stuff. And also like to use a medium action rod with a fast to extra fast action with a 2500 or a 3000 size reel, 10-pound main line, 8-pound leader. I'll show you that after. My rod and reel that I'm using currently for Neko rigging right here is a G Loomis NRX 852S JWR. It's a 7'1", extra fast, medium power, rated for 1/8 to 3/8 ounce lures, 6 to 12-pound line. And I have on it a Shimano Stella 2500 HG. This is the FK model. And I have 10-pound Power Pro Super 8 Slick V2 with the 8-pound Seaguar Red Label leader. I like 8-pound Red Label. It is pretty strong line. It is a little bit on the thicker side, but it gets the job done for Neko Rig. When you're running like 8, 9, and 10-pound leader, I mean, it's going to be a thicker line, so I'm not exactly too finessey with this rod. I mean, if I have to finesse with lower than 8-pound leader, if it gets to that point, I'll just throw a drop shot or a Ned rig. So what this rod and reel setup allows me to do is I can fish deep water and bomb casts far, and the backbone of the rod, right, and the action of the rod will allow me to set the hook properly in deeper water with those far casts, especially with the 10-pound braided line. I don't run too long of a leader. I would say about maybe 3 to 5 foot leaders, maybe longer if the water is very clear. That's my rod and reel. I've used Megabass Levante Whip Snake rod with a Shimano Stratic. That gets the job done nicely. It's a little soft. That's more for kind of like close quarters, or if you want to go something a little finessier and run lighter leaders, that's good too. Another nice rod for this setup would be the Megabass Destroyer P5 Windbuster, which is a 7'2". Very similar power. Very nice on the hook set. So now the weights that I like to use, generally I'll either go between a 1/16, a 3/32, a 1/8 ounce weight. Those are the three that I start off with. Now, it all depends how finicky the fish are that day. Sometimes they want a quicker fall, sometimes they want a slower fall, or it all depends how far I'm casting. So right here, these are my weights. And as you can see that they're all labeled. Let's just put it like this. They're all labeled. So when I talk about 1/8 ounce, this is the VMC Half Moon Neko weight right here. So if I'm going far, this is what I'm using. Even a 1/16 ounce will work right here, as you can see. Right? I like the rounded head, so that way if I'm fishing around any hard cover, or if there's like some rocks there or logs, when it hits off of the hard cover, it'll make kind of like a knock sound. So this is a 3/32 ounce. So this is between the 16th and 8th. So this is kind of like a 1/10, 1/11 of an ounce kind of weight if you want to look at it from that point. And that's also a nice weight. And if I want a slower rate of fall, I'll go with 1/20th. So there's times where I'll go to a 1/96th of an ounce, which is incredibly small, and sometimes honestly to me it's unnecessary. But if I'm fishing a tiny worm, a 3-inch worm or a 4-inch worm, I'll do something like this. Or this would be kind of like just to add just a little tiny weight to a wacky rig, just to get it to fall a little quicker. You have a 1/64th right here, and that I'll use on a Neko. It'll give you an extremely slow fall, right? This is a 1/8 in tungsten right here. So generally I'll go between 1/16, 3/32, and 1/8, and I'll work within those three ranges. If I gotta go a little lighter than 1/16, I will, but I don't go heavier than 1/8. Hooks that I use, it's pretty simple. There's only one hook that I do use. VMC weedless Neko size 1 with the weed guard. These hooks are crazy sharp. VMC, I've been using these since 2019. I found that they have gotten better with throughout the years, but no matter what kind of hook that I try and use for Neko rigging, I always seem to go back to VMC. The hook also has a kind of like a little offset curve, so just in case, like, you could get it hooked and then you set the hook, it doesn't really require too much force to set the hook in nicely. So the first baits that I'm going to show you are from RoboWorm. So this is just a standard 6-inch straight tail. They give a little finesse presentation, as they are a little thinner. Don't mind the white stuff. That's just dried up bait fuel. You put a little bit of water in there and it just juices back up nicely. But yeah, so that's just a standard. And then I use the RoboWorm Fat. So this gives a little bit more beefier profile. I do have the 7-inch RoboWorm Fat, so I'll be using that as well when I'm targeting bigger fish. So if I'm around cookie cutters and I know that this area could potentially hold a bigger fish, I'm going to throw that 7-inch on. So up next is the Missile Baits Magic Worm. So these are also nice on Neko Rig, as they are neutral buoyant as well. They come in great colors, and these allow me, like these straight tail worms, allow me to fish all sorts of different weights, a nice weight range, as they are neutral buoyant. I can control much easier the fall rate of these worms, and that's why I prefer them first and foremost over other baits for the Neko Rig. Then up next are stickworm types, which first we have right here is the Missile Baits Quiver. right? And the Gary Yamamoto Senko. And one thing I don't have here is a Yum Dinger, but that falls in the stickworm category. So the thing with the Senko is that they are heavy already. So just to get them to do a nosedive, I don't have to run as heavy of a weight as I would with, say, the Robo Worms, the Missile Baits Magic Worm, a Yum Dinger, or even the Quiver, right? Because the Senkos are very heavy. So then I'll probably run a 1/20th of an ounce, a 3/64th, a 1/64th, even if the water's extremely calm, is that I'll run a 196 just to get the nose to go down. But a 196, it's still a little bit on the low side, you know. So like I said, depth and even wind too plays a huge role in what weight that I pick. I didn't mention that before. I completely forgot about the wind. But wind does, you know, like the windier it is, the heavier the weight you use. But I don't usually pass an 1/8 of an ounce. Yum Dingers, same thing. They really don't have much salt like the Senkos. So I'll probably run, you know, like a 1/16th ounce on that, a 1/20th, and see how it goes, right? I might even do a 3/32 on it. All right, so this is the rigging segment of the video, and what I have here, so I have my worm, which is an older used Robo Worm that I had laying around. I'm not gonna do it on a brand new worm. I got my VMC Half Moon weight right here. I got my VMC weedless Neko hook, and I got my VMC crossover rings right here in the 6mm. So for this video, I'm using the green color, which is green pumpkin, because if I use the clear version, you're not going to see it on camera. So this is just for display purposes. And I have my Arsenal tool. I also use the Arsenal rings as well for Neko rigging, but I can't find them right now, so I'm just going with the VMC. So first things first, what I like to do, I like to pull out the ring. Okay, so I got this out right here. Then I grab my tool. That didn't sound right. And then I just open it up like this. And then I stick the worm right through. And then I make sure that the worm is straight. It's easier if you add like any sort of scent, adds as a lubricant, but right now the 6mm on this worm is okay. And I'd like to leave about 1.5 inches, sometimes 2 inches, depending the length of the worm, from the tip to the ring. Then the weight goes on. Right now, for display purposes, I'm using the 16th ounce. And also, quick tip, I add a dab of super glue at the tip here, so it stays. Sometimes these plastics like to push the weights out. So this is how it is right here. Don't forget, this is just a normal thinner one. Sometimes I like to just run a normal nail weight on it. And then the weedless Neko hook right here goes right into the eye of the crossover ring. And there you go. This is a size 1. I don't like to go too small on my hooks because sometimes you miss a lot of fish. But this is pretty much your standard Neko rig right here. And always keep the hook point on the upside like that. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time with hang-ups. And this rig has caught me a lot of fish, and it's caught me big fish as well. So this rig, along with the drop shot, had earned its place in my book of tricks. So now how I fish the Neko rig. It's simple. I cast it out, and I let it sink on a slack line. And then once I know like that the line is going down, I close the bail. I would say about maybe like count maybe to 5. I close my bail, and then I wait for the line to stop going down, and then I'll look at the line, because a lot of times too you'll get hit on the fall, and then I'll just pop it a bit. So I'll give it a couple pops, and then let it go back down, or I'll just drag it, reel up the slack a bit and just drag it. I don't reel up too much of the slack. I still kind of want like a semi-tight line, so that way my bait's not coming off like that, but I'm just dragging it while the bait is kind of vertical. That's what I look for anyways. If there's weeds, I'll pop it. I'll pop it out of weeds. A lot of times you'll get reaction strikes from there. Most of the time they hit on the fall, or they'll turn around and they'll smack it if you drag it into their area. 90% of the time it's on the fall, kind of like a wacky rig. Also too, if I see cruising fish, I'll pitch it out there and I'll try and collect that fish as it's cruising by. And just like a wacky rig, I'll be fishing it in isolated cover as well. So if I know that I've caught a fish at a certain spot, or if I'm confident that there's a fish hanging out at a certain piece of cover, I'm pitching it out there to that piece as well. You could see all of the carp and goldfish. All right. Fish. Yep. Yep, right on the ledge. Oh, big bass. There it is. Put it right there.
Oh. Did you even start it?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
With the Neko Rig. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm excited for bass. Bass season is opening here in Ontario in about a month and 1 week. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.